I like to keep what's called a miracle moments folder on my phone. And I screenshot all the good work that I have been doing, all of the emails that I receive from people across the world, all of the comments I get where women are saying, I'm going to run for office because you've inspired me to do that. And I save that in a folder. And on days where I feel like I am not making any change, I go into that folder and I remind myself that I have impacted at least one person.
And now Avery Bishop has a chance to impact many more people. The former Miss Texas and first Asian American woman to hold that crown joined me in July to discuss her efforts to hold Republican state leaders accountable on issues like gun reform and reproductive rights. I told her to come back to my show if she decided to run for office herself, and she's doing just that. Avery announcing that she's running as a Democrat for a seat in the Texas House of Representatives, running against a longtime Republican incumbent. And if Avery wins, she'll be the first Filipino-American in the Texas state legislature. Joining me now, I have the honor of having Avery Bishop returning to the show, Democratic candidate for Texas House District 112 and former Miss Texas. Avery, it's so good to have you back here. Congratulations on announcing your candidacy. The last time you were here, it was rumored you might be running for office. Now you're officially running. Why now?
I'm just tired of waiting. I convinced myself that I wasn't rich enough, that I didn't have a career that was serious enough, that I hadn't paid off my student loans down enough. But there is no perfect timing. And there are so many issues that are important to my generation that if I don't run now, they won't be as relevant anymore. And the most important thing here in Texas is that my generation, we're the ones who are going to have to deal with the repercussions of the decisions that are made in the Austin area.
Avery, I was fascinated when I heard that you were running. The incumbent that you're running against, her name is Angie Chen Button. She's also Asian American. How do you think that's going to impact the dynamics of this race?
If I'm going to be honest, I actually ran in the same circles as Angie Chen Button growing up, and we have photos together when I was 16 or 17. We're both heavily involved in the AAPI community. And when I met her for the first time, I was honestly inspired that she was in government and she was an Asian American woman. What I will say, though, is that I am ready to represent my community who hasn't been represented in the way that they want it to be down at the Capitol.
So, Avery, you're the daughter of a Filipino immigrant mother. So what would it mean to you and your family if you win your district? You've said before you never see leaders who looked like you, let alone who fought for you, more importantly.
It's twofold. First, it would be an honor to represent the Filipino-American community, and not only them, but first-generation communities, women of color, for example. And it would also be a responsibility, right? Not only would I be one of the first, again, something that I'm very used to, but it would also be a responsibility of having to make sure that I make decisions on behalf of the people that I serve, not necessarily please. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges that our lawmakers are having in Austin. They only want to please a certain community or constituent, but I'm here to serve all communities.
And so how are you going to do that? Because the GOP really controls in a tight hand the legislative body like the Texas House. So how do you feel that you're going to be able to make a difference there?
Absolutely. Well, the intention is always to win, right? But at the end of the day, if I don't, it's all about increasing visibility, of being seen, of being placed in a space where we don't necessarily belong. And at the end of the day, if I don't win, for example, I am setting the stage, right? Creating this path for other women who look like me to at least try. And that's how we're going to get democracy to work in the way that it is intended to work, when it represents the people that it reflects.
So you have always been an outspoken supporter of access to reproductive rights. What do you think of the move by some areas in your state of Texas to make it illegal to transport anyone to get an abortion on roads within certain city or county limits?
It's terrifying, honestly, as a woman myself, and any individual who necessarily needs to access that kind of reproductive health care. We are spending too much money, wasting too much time discussing issues that are not necessarily something that we should be focusing on, right? We need to make sure that women have access and are able to make those choices in a safe way, and not being able to transport ourselves, right? Just seeking these resources in different spaces where it is legal is a step backwards for the Lone Star State.
I got less than a minute, but Avery, I want to ask, you're 26 years old. You are that next generation of the young voter who really cares and wants to make a difference. You've got almost 1 million followers on TikTok. Do you think you're going to deploy that heavy social media strategy to be able to support yourself as you are doing this race?
I think so. I actually turned 27 yesterday. I'm a Virgo, and we did a huge fundraising push online digital. But what I will say is that it is going to be difficult translating the followers into individuals who donate or who actually vote in the District 112. So I am going to use my Gen Z power and ask for help via social media as much as I can. And I hope anyone who's watching this who wants to support a Gen Z Filipino American progressive candidate, I would love to connect with you.